Hey there, Lindsay from Lucky Bird Photo wanted to pop in on this Tuesday and talk to you guys about some of my tips. Today I'm going to talk about like some things that you can save money on from a photography standpoint where I don't really see it. So I don't necessarily think your guests are going to see it. And when you look back on your photos, you're probably not going to be able to remember even skimping on those things. So for those of you who don't know, like I said, my name's Lindsay. I'm a wedding photographer. I'm based out of Toledo, Ohio. And yeah, I specialize in weddings. That's what I love to do. And my ultimate goal is for my couples to have a stress-free day. That's really what matters for everything. So, okay, when we talk about saving money, things that people aren't going to notice. The biggest one, and I'm sure some people are going to kill me for this, vendor friends, I'm so sorry, ceremony programs. I feel like I'm not seeing those as much anyway, but the ceremony programs are really something that I feel like it's going away, and people just don't, they've been to weddings. They know what's going to happen for everything, and they cost money, and it's not everybody takes them. You have some left over. They're just, you don't need them. Please don't kill me for saying that, friends. But you don't need them, and they're not gonna really be in your photos anyway. So unless you have programs that are like people do the programs that like double as fans, if it's gonna be really hot, go for it. I mean, if you want to do something like that, it's totally fine. But you can also just go out and buy like fans and kind of do that too. So I feel like that's something people don't notice. Champagne toasts, I don't see those as much anymore, but I don't see them. I might take a photo of something like that, but if you're doing a champagne toast, whether it's for your entire wedding party, or sometimes people do champagne toasts for every single person that's in there, that can add up. Unless it's some complimentary thing that they're doing, it can add up. It's cool for a photo, but it's not worth the money for everything. So that's a big one. And expensive appetizers. I feel like as far as appetizers go, your guests just expect to kind of nibble on a little something before you get there anyway. So when you do really expensive appetizers, I'm not going to be photographing them because I'm going to be out with you guys anyway, grabbing all those shots we're grabbing during that cocktail hour. And yeah, it's just an unneeded expense. And really all of these things can add up. If you're doing all of these things, they sound really small, but if you're doing appetizers for 150 to 300 guests, that's a lot. That can be a lot of money for everything. So, and kind of along the same thread, I see people that do top shelf booze all the time. Top shelf alcohol, and I don't photograph it. I don't think you need it. I don't think anybody's going that crazy at a wedding, and if they are, they can go to a bar afterwards if they want to get that crazy. So I don't think you need top shelf. If they have different tiers, some people don't want to just do beer and wine. They want to also do liquor, and I totally get that. But if you want to do something else, I would say, if they've got different tiers, just do something kind of middle of the road where people are going to recognize the names, but it's not going to be, all of these really expensive drinks that people are getting for everything. So that's a big one. And then how large your wedding party is and how many guests you invite, those aren't things that are going to photograph. So don't feel the pressure of having a huge wedding party, inviting every single person that you can think of, because those add up. I mean, you have to, if you're having a huge wedding party and you're having a lot of guests, that's food that you have to pay, for those people. If you have, seating, like nicer chairs, nicer linens, what else? Alcohol that I was just talking about, the appetizers, the cake, all of those things. It's based on mostly the people that you invite, how many people you invite. That's your biggest cost right there, is how many people you invite. And it really kind of trickles into everything else. When we were talking about those ceremony programs, just champagne toast, everything like that. It's all based around how many people you invite and how many people you have in your wedding party. So really try and keep that as low as you can, and you're going to just feel better having those core people at your wedding that really truly matter, and you're going to save a lot of money, to be honest, with something like that. I think that's the biggest money saver is really just your guest count. And I kind of touched on it a smidge, but how large your cake is, I don't feel like that's something, I'll photograph a cake, and I don't feel like that's something that, like, from a photography standpoint, I can, if it's not around anything else, photography can be kind of deceiving. I can make the cake look bigger than it is. And also, I don't really feel like it matters, because if you're planning on doing sheet cakes or having, different desserts, your guests aren't going to notice. You're going to save money. And a lot of cake places now do like a foam tier. Like, they'll have like a couple tiers of real cake, and then they'll do like maybe like a big foam tier or something like that. So you can make your cake look bigger than it is, but you're not paying for cake. And that way, the thing that makes me cringe the most at the end of the night is, like, if people get a bunch of cake and nobody eats it, and they just like end up like busting out a bunch of boxes and being like, take this home, take this home, take this home. And it's like, that's nice, but like, if you're already doing favors for your guests, and like I said, you're doing like the top shelf alcohol and nicer appetizers and all these different things, like, you're already giving them all of these amazing favors. If you have favors, like, you're just giving them all of these amazing things, and then to give them basically more on top of it, like, that's very generous, that's very nice, but it's not needed. So if you just had a smaller amount of cake, then it'd be fine. It'd be totally fine for everything. So those are definitely the things that, like, you can save money on that I don't notice. So then things that I will notice, the biggest one is the wedding alterations to your dress. And I know that there's some people that say that their dress fits them just fine and they don't have to get alterations. And there's people where they do them last minute, so they're kind of compromising, or there's people where they go someplace cheap. My recommendation is look up reviews. I know I say this for pretty much every vendor, but look up the reviews, make sure that they're current, make sure that they do a good job, make sure that they're going to give your dress back to you in a way that makes it better than when you gave it to them. That's the biggest thing that I hear from people, is that their dress doesn't fit well, and then they're spending the entire day like pulling it up, or like there's like weird, like gaps underneath. There's just different things going wrong with their dress, and I'm taking pictures of you the most in your dress, and I see that. I see that. And you think about those family groupings, all of those photos that are important to you, portraits of the two of you. I see you in your dress a lot. You're in your dress a lot, and your guests see it. But when it comes back to your photos and what you're going to be looking at down the road, it's going to be you in your dress. So don't skimp on that. Basically take everything that I told you to save on and spend it on alterations for your dress. You're not going to be mad. You're never going to be like, oh darn, like, I should not have spent that money, getting this altered to have a bra put in it or whatever. Like, you need to do that. That is very, very important. So bad dress alterations, totally notice. Cheap chairs. If you have cheap chairs, those will show up in your photos. I know a lot of people don't want to spend the money on those chairs, but you're going to see it. Especially when it comes to your dances. If you think about, like, I always take a photo where it's like the prettiest spot, where I don't see the DJ booth. I'll photograph. Sometimes my back will be directly to the DJ, and I'll photograph that way and kind of get that view for everything. So whatever view that I'm seeing, as far as like wherever your tables are, your stage, all of those different things, unless you have a massive stage and the tables aren't really close to it, I'm gonna see it. So most of the time, there's tables just kind of on the outside of the dance floor, and I'll usually use my zoom because I like to compress everything that's behind you. That way, if you have beautiful lights, uplighting, different things like that, which I'm going to talk about. But if you have all those beautiful things, it's really emphasizing those things, and it's also emphasizing whatever else is in the background. So if you have like folding chairs or anything light colored, it's honestly when people have like white chairs, if they're not like nicer chairs, the lightest things in that photo are gonna pop. That's what I'm gonna see. So it's gonna be like your dress, and like I said, if you have like white folding chairs, those things are like what you see the most. So just keep that in mind for everything. Splurge on the chairs. I know it's silly, but it just kind of brings up just the look of your day. And kind of what I was talking about is if you don't have like ceiling drapery or lights, I notice all of those things. That's a huge thing, because that's something that I can really work with when it comes to your dancing photos. I can incorporate those elements. So if you have a chandelier, like a floral chandelier, if you have like the linen and like the draping and the lights, I know it's an extra cost, but it's totally worth it. Like that is something 100%. When it comes to my wedding day and anybody else, like it makes your photo. It honestly makes your photo. I am so happy that I got that for my day. I know it was a little bit pricey, but I love our dancing photos just because it's such an important moment, and to have that drama, to have it look more wedding-y than just like us on a dance floor, it was totally worth it. It was a really, really great thing to add. And something big that, like, I don't want to say it's newer, but I'm seeing it more and more and more because a lot of DJs are doing it too, is like uplighting. Because there's actually like uplighting companies that you can use, but a lot of DJs have uplighting as well. And just having that pop of color, I don't really see it for like your first dances, but I totally see it for like the dancing photos of people on the dance floor. And then when it comes to like your full room photo, all of those different things, if those uplights are on, if I know that those are going to be there, it adds such an amazing layer to your photos, because not only it's like I'm using flash, we're grabbing all the photos of the tables, and then to have that in the background is really beautiful. So I don't think it costs very much to do uplighting. Like I said, a lot of DJs have it as an add-on, so I'm assuming it's pretty minimal as far as costs go compared to some of the other things like your alterations and your cake and your booze that you're buying and everything like that. So definitely check those things out. So kind of a recap, nobody's gonna really notice your programs, sorry. Your champagne toasts, your expensive appetizers, your top shelf booze, how large your wedding party and how many people were invited, and how large your cake is. Those are the big things where I feel like you can just don't worry about them. Get rid of them all together. If, I have people all the time that don't have wedding parties. That's amazing. I have people that don't do cake. That's amazing. Things that people are going to notice, or like I should say that I'm going to notice when it comes to your photos, are the bed dress alterations, the cheap chairs, not having any kind of like ceiling or like lighting, chandelier, like any kind of decor up on your ceiling, and then like uplighting, because those are big things that I miss all the time. When I go into a venue, it's like, oh, if they would have just had blah, like, it would have been amazing. And your day's amazing no matter what, don't get me wrong, but these are just some things from a photography standpoint that I noticed that can kind of just elevate your day a little bit, without breaking the bank, because you can kind of offset it with some of those other things that you don't have to have. So I hope that helps you guys. I know this is kind of a long one. I hope that helps you guys, and feel free to DM me if you have anything else that you can think of, anything that you're stuck on, anything you want me to talk about. I am here to help. So I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.